No black hats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Third Play Pursuit. Fresh off the heels of UFC 291, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. A card where Danny the Betman, who you may notice is not here because he is on his honeymoon. We thank everybody who joined the Patreon in the month of July, giving him a fantastic wedding present. All the money that we made in the month of July on the Patreon went to Danny the Betman. So if you're not in there, today is the official last day of the month of July, July 31st. If you get in there today, subscribe. That money will go to him as a wedding present. He got married this month, and now he is in Italy on his honeymoon in the motherland, Alex. But we are stateside to break down yet another super ultra early UFC card. Dan was here last week to give you the predictions for this week's card. UFC Nashville, Rob Font taking on Corey Sandhagen. But fear not, he will be back next week to break down the cards and give you his finalized picks for the upcoming week's card. But for now, Alex and I are going to take you through Vicente Luque versus Rafael dos Anjos. Then we're going to hop onto that said Patreon to join the Patreon audience and talk about Rob Font versus Corey Sandhagen one more time. But for the most part, if you want to see us talk about that full card, we already broke it down, Sandhagen versus Font. Check it out. The episode's there waiting for a UFC Nashville breakdown. Alex, what's going on, my man? Coming off the heels of UFC 291, before we break down Luque versus RDA, I want to talk about 291 because Danny went 10 out of 11. I went 9 out of 11. And even you went 7 out of 11. You're now at 56% accuracy for year 4. I'm going to update your record and talk to us. How'd the night go for you?
It was great. Ended up winning the Patreon audience a little bit of cheddar. Started out a little rough with Matt Semmelsberger, but we got back on track. We ended up in the green on the night, paid for the pay-per-view, paid for the pizza, had a wonderful evening.
Yeah, and if you were tailing my picks, we went 9 out of 11. Matt Semmelsberger, one of only 2 that I got wrong. And the other one that I got wrong, I kind of switched after the weigh-ins. And if you were in the Patreon and tailed my open bet sheet, you saw that reflected in there. You saw that I picked Derek Lewis on a few of my bets because when I saw him weigh in on the scale, I was like, this guy looks like he's serious this time. I was a little bit jaded on Derek Lewis coming off 5 straight losses. And even he would have told you he wasn't healthy. But he came out in the pre-fight press conference, said things are going better. He showed it with the abs, and he flying knee knocked out the Lima in the head. I mean, this was basically, something you don't see at heavyweight. Derek Lewis is in better shape than I am. I'm pretty much a lightweight, and I am fatter than Derek Lewis right now. So point is, guys, we had a really great night, 9 out of 11. The only 2 I got wrong, Semmelsberger and DeLima. And like I said, DeLima didn't even really feel that wrong. But Matt Semmelsberger, that was one I was eerily confident on. And to see him go down like that, after having some success, arguably winning one of those 2 first rounds, if not both, it's tough with Semmelsberger, right? The effort's there, the skills are there. There's just some holes, some lapses, some areas of the game that leave him vulnerable for. I think the way you pick Semmelsberger, Alex, is you pick him to win when he's an underdog, right? I think that's how you make money. That's how we traditionally made money betting Semmelsberger, is when the story's not out on him. Now the story's kind of out. He's had some success, some really quick finishes. But I think, I had a very large bet on Semmelsberger, parlayed with Michel Pereira, and we'll get into that whole situation too, everybody. But once Michel Pereira dropped off that parlay, it showcased to me the lack of value in a Semmelsberger solo bet because it was so much money to pay back so little that I ended up right before the fight, when I saw the walkout and I saw how they kind of stacked up and how Urus Medish was kind of looked more focused and more formidable than I kind of imagined him in my mind to be. I got nervous and I just cashed it out. So I saved myself a ton of losses in that regard by cashing out of the Matt Semmelsberger bet that I had solo. But yeah, it did disrupt a lot of parlays. I had Semmelsberger in virtually every single parlay, so I had to rebuild after he lost, and that was the second fight of the night. And I was too tentative at that point to rebuild in the way that I initially built. If I had done it the way I initially done it, I probably would have won a lot of money because so many of my picks were correct. But when I rebuilt, I took Vergara, but I took him by finish. And that was judging off of the weigh-ins. Salvador's weigh-in is that his name, Salvador, who's bad. It's really just another reason to just not watch the weigh-ins because they have 24 hours to rehydrate. So it's like don't let your lying eyes deceive you, like Johnny the Greek says. Anyway, I'm all over the place. There's a lot we need to get to regarding UFC 291. A lot of learnings from this card. Alex, Dan, and I all won money. All posted winning bets in the Patreon. If you were able to tail us in that regard, you won on the few underdogs of the night that did win. Dan and Alex had Lewis. We all had Gaethje, Trophy certified Justin Gaethje. So I was able to win. I won on Gaethje. I won on Gaethje by knockout. I put that in the Patreon. So as far as Gaethje, I didn't put Gaethje by knockout on the Patreon because I put it in live right as it was happening. And sorry, it's very rare that I don't get an open bet into the open bet sheet, but sometimes it does happen that way. Alex, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, and if you want to talk about Dan, the only fight he got wrong was Cachoeira, and then the rest of the night had a green. So if you would have restructured that perfect parlay, he probably would have walked away with a lot more money. But that you could do that anytime. I do it almost every time when I lose the first fight of the night. I put another $1 on my perfect parlay. Easy. That's auto bet. But Roman Kapilov.
Can I just say there's so much to talk about? My brain is all over the place. We got UFC 291. Then we got to break down Vicente Luque taking on RDA, the whole card, top to bottom, for free for the YouTube audience. Then we got to hop into the Patreon to talk about Rob Font versus Corey Sandhagen, UFC Nashville this weekend again. And we got Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. So forgive me, YouTube audience. If you're watching the show, you're like, Luke, you're all over the place. I got a lot on my mind, guys. There's so much to discuss. Just me and Alex here. We don't got Danny B to kind of turn this ping pong match into a three-way catch. You know what I mean? Give us a little bit more thinking time in between. Right now, it's just I talk, Alex listens. He doesn't have time to process what I'm saying and think about what he's going to say next. So bear with us this show, guys. But I think it's going to be one of the best shows ever. And for that, the reason I say that is because last weekend I went 9 out of 11. The weekend before that, I went 11 out of 15. The weekend before that, I went 11 out of 13. The weekend before that, I went 10 out of 13. It's been a very long time that I haven't put double-digit or serious, 80% plus accuracy nights up. And this card is a little shaky, but I'm going to just keep trusting my instinct. I'm going to keep trusting the fact that I'm in my prime and I'm in the trenches with the information. I'm in the trenches with the game right now. I'm a student of the game. I'm in the game. It's year 4, but I'm treating it like I was an intern. So let's get into it. And by that I mean, what were you saying?
I said Dan did very well on the night. The only one he got wrong was Cachoeira. You restructure that, you would have had a perfect parlay. Well, not quite perfect, but damn near it. Semmelsberger was the one to really burn me. Darius Flowers, amazing acting. I'm excited to see him in the cage again. It was very
Now, I take umbrage with that. That's not acting. That low blow was a low blow. I don't care what conspiracy.
Oh, no. I was talking about when he got tagged and then he just started acting like he was wobbly and then he came back all hard.
That was amazing acting. That fooled me as well, yeah.
Yeah, that was really, really good.
I thought you were talking about what crackpot Joe Rogan was saying and regarding the nut shot. I mean, it really goes to show that Joe has no knowledge of half of these fighters, so he has to just find his talking point and key in on it, Like when it comes to that nut shot, he was like, here's my chance, because I don't know shit about Darius Flowers, so here's my opportunity to talk about something and get my word count out in this fight.
Yeah, he definitely had his tinfoil hat on. I thought the nut shot was clear, even if it was the I thought the ball of the foot probably adjusted his cup a little bit at the top, and even that is enough to get you out of sorts down there. Believe me. I didn't think that was acting whatsoever. Jake Matthews, a great card, man. We had all finishes except for in 2 fights: the Alex Pereira fight and the CJ Vergara fight. Roman Kopylov, amazing knockout. I don't think that he could hold a candle to Sean Strickland. I think he would get knocked out in that fight, but spectacular knockout. Luke, what did you think about that?
I mean, I don't know why you would say that. He's very hearty, and his kicks were on fast forward. I mean, the way he threw his kicks, it's like you have to really be looking to even see them. It's like a fastball. It's so fast. It's fast as Umar Nurmagomedov, and he's 3 weight classes higher. Love Kopylov. I picked him. Dan picked him. For me, okay, so I want to talk about the I love that Bonfim kind of just did his job. When you're a 3-1 favorite, you come in, you finish them quick like that. You make it easy on us, right? Lewis was an underdog and did the same thing. Bobby Green, I had Bobby Green in. by knockout. I had Bobby Green in a parlay by decision. I had him in every fucking possible outcome besides submission because I didn't in a million years think that Tony Ferguson, who wasn't submitted by Dariush, wasn't submitted by Oliveira, is going to get submitted by Bobby Green. But he did. So, what can go wrong will. I do agree with Ferguson that the eye poke changed the momentum of the fight, and I thought that was bullshit. More fighters need to just fucking say, no, I'm not accepting this, and then it will happen less. It will happen less when it inconveniences the person who is causing it, right? Like the Yair Rodriguez, Jeremy Stevens situation. Yair had to then put in a whole other training camp, show up again to fight the same guy for the same money, and that inconvenienced him. So it makes people think twice when it hits him in the pocket, when it hits him in the, where it hurts. So I think that if you get poked in the eye and you can't see out of the eye, and I know I'm a hypocrite because I say that Bilal Muhammad should have fought on when he got poked in the eye, but all I'm trying to say is if you do choose to fight on, don't blame the loss on that. If it's that bad and you think that you can't win, as a result, or I don't know, it's really hard to say now that I think about it. I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but my point is I don't like to hear about it in hindsight because it makes me feel like, well, yeah, but now you have no recourse. No one even remembers that. They remember you getting choked out. So I'm just saying, like, way worse things can happen besides me thinking you're a coward, like I think of Bilal Muhammad with his situation, And I really only think he's a coward because he cried. If Ferguson just said, I can't see, I'm not doing this. Like, I want to fight him, but I want to fight him with all my tools and without him having an unfair advantage. So let's do it on a different day. But damn, just as I say that, I'm reminded of Wonderboy versus Pereira, where I do believe that Wonderboy behaved cowardly. I think that, we talk about this all the time on the show, guys. We say, if somebody comes up and pinches your girlfriend on the butt and pulls you off your bar stool, are you going to pull out a scale and weigh them in first, or are you going to smack them up? All right. So I don't like that we got guys like Nate Diaz going out of the UFC to take on big old milk-fed Jake Paul without care. And you got guys of old, like my favorite fighter, BJ Penn, who took on Lyoto Machida, at heavyweight in his own promotion in Hawaii. Like, could have fought a cab driver if he wanted to. It was his own promotion, but he instead fights like one of the pound for pound greatest of all time fighters in a weight class above him. So that's the type of fighter I respect. So if I respect that, every action has to have an equal and opposite reaction. There is no, if everybody's special, nobody is, right? If everybody's special, nobody is. So BJ Penn is special. Fedor Emelianenko is special. Roy Nelson is special. Who else is special, Alex? There's a lot of special people. But Wonderboy, you're not special now. Now what you are is a pussy. You're a coward. You wouldn't fight a man because of 3 pounds. And you then, what makes it even worse is that then you grandstanded on your soapbox talking about fighters' rights issues like you're freaking Megan Rapinoe. And it's just, it's like, one more, like Wonderboy. And then to rub salt. Here's the problem I had, guys. Michelle Pereira, that was a max bet situation for me. You have a 29-year-old stud versus a guy with gray hair. And at the end of the day, the embedded episode should have told you everything you needed to know. Wonderboy, what was he doing? He was shooting BB guns with a bunch of nerds. Absolutely through the moon that they gave him his own custom BB gun, his own custom water pistol. What was Pereira doing? Literally running in the mountains with actual U.S. military members, actual Marines, running through the fucking mountains with the Army, with the Marines, going ham, shooting real guns, going in cold water, mountain water, like doing real fucking Hicks and Gracie shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That told you everything you needed to know about who was going to win that fight. One's a man, one's a boy. And I'm about to freestyle rap on him. Alex, this is crazy. Wonderboy has taken so much money out of my mouth, out of my pocket, my family's mouth, my children's plate. He's taken so much McDonald's out of my kid's mouth. Wonderboy, I had a max bet on Kevin Holland to beat Wonderboy. And Kevin Holland quit on his stool. If James Krause is sitting in a 4x4 cell right now and being investigated, Kevin Holland should be investigated as well. Because who, as a favorite, quits on their stool voluntarily, to me, it's point shaving. It's the same thing as point shaving. He quit on his stool. So he decided the fight was over. We got to look into it. I'm just saying look into it. I'm not alleging anything. I'm just saying, let's look into it. Hold on. Give me a second. Ah, damn it.
Looking for a drop?
I'm looking for one, but I thought I had it. I don't. Anyway, what I'm trying to say, guys, is we need to look into it.
And when you look into it,
Robert, I didn't do this stuff. This is
Kevin Holland. When we get our hands on Kevin Holland, we're going to investigate Kevin. But here's my problem with that. So Kevin Holland made like an agreement, like a backroom agreement with Wonderboy that they weren't going to go on the ground at all. And he knocked Wonderboy down and had the chance to get on top of Wonderboy multiple times in that fight. We all know Kevin Holland has great jiu-jitsu. He displayed it against Michael Chiesa, but he didn't use it. In the rules, it states that a fighter must bring all of their tools to the table to the fight, and they must use those tools. It was to the point where people were memeing Kevin Holland afterwards, memeing him and saying, like, we got to thank this man for for not wrestling Wonderboy because we wanted to see a stand-up fight. I guess the we is like the Casual Fans of America Association who became fans of the sport 5 minutes ago. Because I would love to have seen Kevin Holland rip his head off like Khamzat Chimaev did to him. I don't know where all of a sudden Kevin Holland is such a threat on the ground that he needs to protect the rest of the division from his ground game and voluntarily make it a kickboxing match. It's like until you can fucking survive more than a minute and a half with Chimaev, you're not anyone's Huckleberry on the ground except for fucking scared cat Chiesa. Guys, we're gonna get into all this. But my point is that fight, they legalized gambling in Maryland and then the first UFC card after that was Wonderboy versus Holland. So I went around, it was Thanksgiving the week before. I went around at Thanksgiving. I'm like, hey, you guys want to sign up for this sports book? I'll get a referral bonus. Boom, boom, boom. I'm signing up all the family members. Boom, 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 boom. Everyone's getting referral bonuses. We're hitting no-brainer bets on the Baltimore Ravens. We're hitting no-brainer bets on the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen, we're piling up all this free money that all the sports books are giving me. And I amassed like $1,500 in basically free money from referrals and bonuses and free bets. And I'm like, Kevin Holland at even money versus a man with gray hair in his head. I start putting all the money on Kevin Holland. I'm like, Kevin Holland's going to destroy him. He's bigger. He's faster. He's longer. He's stronger. He's younger. He's got better ground game. He's even got just as good of striking. Come on. So I'm throwing it on him. And Kevin Holland quits on his stool. And I lose quite literally like $1,500. That would have paid like $3,000 back, right? So I lose all this money. And now I'm like, all right. I'll get this back next time.
The infamous bank heist.
It was a bank heist night. And I got caught and arrested, essentially, trying to pull off the bank heist robbery. I got my balls kicked right up into my throat. So then I go, okay, well, Michel Pereira, as a bigger underdog than Kevin Holland was against Wonderboy at times, he was a plus 180. I'm like, all right, Michel Pereira is my guy. We're backing the Brinks strut back on Michel Pereira. So I backed the fucking Brinks strut on Michel Pereira. I probably would have, if Michel Pereira would have beat Wonderboy easily, I'm $4,000 richer today, right? So that fight never happens. Money comes back. And all throughout the night, I have to see Wonderboy on that commercial with who? None other than Kevin Holland. And what are they doing in the fight? Communicating with each other and like with the ref. And then like, what are they doing afterwards? Being drinking buddies and, everything's all good. Almost insinuating a work. Almost insinuating corruption. Almost putting Jose Cuervo margarita salt in Luke's wound and squeezing a lime in there too. And then putting the margarita mix all over it and rubbing it in. That's almost what they were doing to me all night. I had to literally mute the TV at times because of how much this was driving me crazy. And think about it. That's exactly why Kevin Holland, Wonderboy, can afford to sit on his hands because he's got brand endorsement deals. That's why he can afford to not fight. So back to what I said about Ian Gary. I'm not concerned about fighting. I'm gonna take care of my child. Why can he do that? Because he gets the fucking expressway, the Mario Kart Rainbow Road to the fucking stardom because he's got Dana White privilege and ends up being from Ireland, got Conor McGregor privilege. He gets easy, cherry-picked matchups where he's the favorite and he gets to excel up the rankings and then he gets to have all this attention, unwarranted attention, given, not earned to him, to the point where he gets brand representation and money deals, right? So these guys who are able to be inflated have now, they are given choice. We don't want these fighters to have choice. We want them to need to fight. We want them to fight to live to fight. So Wonderboy being able to sit on his hands and say, I don't need this paycheck. I'm going to coast back on my Jose Cuervo money. Same as Ian Gary's coasting back on his Layla Machado money or whatever the hell. I don't know. Is she like, I don't know. Is she John Jock's niece or something? Does she got a couple fucking royalties or something coming her way when John Jock kicks the bucket? What's going on with the situation? How can he afford to sit on his hands? That's what I'm wondering. These guys sit on their hands.
Alcohol's pretty good.
Get tattoos.
And, how much is he making off those Jeff Neal shirts? Does Jeff get a piece using his likeness like that? Or is it public domain because it's an arrest photo?
Ooh, interesting.
A loophole. I actually thought about using that as a loophole at one point. here's my thing, guys. I'm trying to connect a lot of dots. Here. And if you're a fan of the show, if you're with the type of fan we want, then you're with what I'm saying right now. You're understanding that there was a massive conspiracy done against me. There was a massive travesty and a massive wrong done to me personally by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I really hate him. I hope they make the rematch, Michelle Pereira versus Wonderboy, or I hope they make him fight Shavkat, or I hope they make him fight Hamzat, or I hope they make him fight a wood chipper, and let me get my opportunity. Let me get my pound of flesh, because everybody knows karma is on my side. The Lord is on my side. God is on my side, okay? Because I came, the day of reckoning is upon us, Alex. I came for Robert Whittaker. I came for Dustin Poirier. If Wonderboy thinks he escaped me, he just fucking put the bounty. The bounty is 3x now, Wonderboy. The bounty is 3x. So this is what I'm trying to say, Alex. I came on the show. I said, I hate Whittaker. I hate Wonderboy. I hate Didi. I hate Dirty Dustin. And I said, all three of them, my witches are circling the wagon, guys. The witches are taking flight, and it's the witching hour. And if you watch this show for a while, you know that, I dabble in dark magic. I dabble in the occult, rituals, if you will, spell casting. And my personal mana has never been higher. I did a 2-day fast, a purification ritual, and I'm harnessing a ton of mana. My betting record is reflecting the power that I'm receiving. And I'm putting a hex on Wonderboy, and the next time he fights, it's going to be bad. And I'm going to take a lot of money off the casinos when they make him a favorite again, because of all you idiots who think that Wonderboy's, a darling and a white hat. He's not a white hat. He's a black hat. He's a villain in my mind. He's a villain to me. Black hat to me. Just like what Israel said about Pereira. He said, you guys might think that, he's hunting me down, but I'm the antagonist in his life, or he's the, you know what I mean? It was like a whole thing. That's the thing. You guys think Wonderboy's the good guy. Everyone's the villain in somebody's comic book, and he's the villain in my comic book. And we got Whittaker. We got Dirty Dustin. Neither of them, Dustin Poirier and Robert Whittaker, neither of them will ever get a title shot again, ever. As long as they live, they will never fight for a UFC world title ever again. And if you're a fan of them, I hope that you live with that. And I know Joe Selecki's a fan of Dustin Poirier, and I'm so competitive when it comes to the sports betting shit that when Justin Gaethje kicked him in the head and sent him flying to the canvas and punched him, I thought in my head what John Jones said, what my hero said about DC when he beat him. I knew how much a fan Joe Selecki was of Dustin Poirier, and I thought, I hope Joe Selecki is somewhere crying right now. That's what he said about DC?
No.
He said, I hope DC is somewhere crying right now.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm just kidding about that, Joe. I did reflect on the fact that I was taking such joy in Dustin getting knocked out, and so many were experiencing such grief in that moment. I mean, the only thing that could have made it a better night is if when Justin did that backflip off the cage, he landed on Dustin's head and popped it like a grape. That would have been the only thing better. Herb Dean giving him the people's elbow and the armpit was nice. I like that. That was good. I wish he gave him another one. Yeah, I mean, I just hope everybody who's a fan of Dustin Poirier knows one thing, and that's you were wrong. Everybody who picked Justin Gaethje, it was the most obvious pick of the century. He trains 2,000 feet higher than he was going to be fighting. Dustin trains at sea level. Say no more. So,
yeah, that was magnificent. Derek Lewis with the big flying knee. That was another leg on my parlay. I had Justin Gaethje, Derek Lewis, and Kevin Holland. Both held up. All three of them. All three were my most gratifying fights of the night. Get to see Derek Lewis get back in the win column in emphatic fashion. Takes his pants off. Starts acting like these girls in Misfits boxing, lifting their shirts after they get a knockout. It was magnificent. Did a little dance. Hopped on the cage. It was great. I'm pretty sure he threw his cup into the audience too, which is also really, really cool.
Both gloves. You could see the ref was like, "Give me one of them gloves. I'm going to sell it for $5,000 on eBay." Come on. I didn't hand it over. What the hell are you doing throwing it to some drunk?
Yeah, that was awesome. He was just trying to get out of those clothes as quick as he could. And then Kevin Holland, dude. There's nothing funnier than Michael Chiesa running out to stranglehold and then getting put in a stranglehold by Kevin Holland.
For the umpteenth time. I mean,
yes, and he was talking about it on DC and RC earlier that week, and he's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've been Dar so many times, and Kevin Holland has a really good Dar, so that would be terrible. And then gets Darce choked by Kevin Holland. Absolutely. I think he just took that way out. I thought that he knew he was outmatched and he was just like, all right, whatever, choke me out.
The word nebbish is a timid, meek, or ineffectual person. I mean, could we call Michael Chiesa a nebbish? He's nebbish. I mean, that's I think it's a Yiddish term, but I just looked up the definition. A timid, meek, or ineffectual person. He is just very nebbish. I mean, it's like he's the type of person who a waitress would ignore. You know what I mean? A hostess would dismiss. A parking official would say, "No, you can't park here. Go around." And he'd be like, "But I see a spot," and they'd be like, "Go around." And Mike is like, "Well," and he's all frustrated and like yells at his like partner. You know what I mean? Not like the person. He's a push around. He's a nerd, a dork. JV, junior varsity. And he coached one Terrence McKinney, and that's why you see the same kind of line, the same kind of quitter line of just, you know, it's just a brush of cowardice, of, you know what I mean, of oh, things are getting too crazy, I got to get out of here, you know, I got things aren't going well, I'm used to things going well and things being easy, you know what I mean. And Michael Chiesa, at the end of the day, but I thought that, right now, if I come on to this podcast and I say Michael Chiesa is a coward, Michael Chiesa, you know, like did the same thing against Luque, and I texted you right before the fight, I said Michael Chiesa finna get choked. I would love to pick Kevin Holland by knockout, but I know Michael Chiesa is too much of a coward to get knocked out. He's too much of a coward to keep fighting when Kevin Holland pieces him up. He's going to just say, "Choke me, Kevin," because it's the same. Guys, Nate Diaz told you this in the first McGregor fight. He said, that wasn't no tap out. That wasn't no submission. That was a fucking knockout. He said, you know, I hit him with the 2-piece, and all of a sudden, oh, you're a wrestler now. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. Michael Chiesa is a coward. No offense. He's not a fighter. You know what I mean? In the definition of the word. He doesn't. When the going gets tough, he gets going out of there to tap, to quit. You know what I mean? It is what it is. He should be cut from the UFC. He shouldn't be in the UFC. Damn sure shouldn't be speaking for the UFC. I'm sick of the guys. You know, it's kind of like this. I worked in corporate America a lot, and it's like when you're in sales, right? When you're responsible for a quota, you'll see some people on your team start to not hit the quota month after month after month. And then you start to see those same people start thinking they might want to go to marketing, or they might want to go to customer support, or they might want to go, and oh, now you want to move to a power. You got in because you said you were good at sales. You're failing, and now you want to go to another arm that you wouldn't have been hired if you interviewed for that position because you're not a this. You know what I mean? Like you weren't qualified for that. That's why you applied for this. Now you're failing this. You want to jump over here just because you know everybody, just because you have coffee with everybody. You think that you can just work with them now? Like this is crazy. You're a loser. You're losing. You should have no job. You know what I mean? You shouldn't, just because you're failing here in the ring. Now that gives you the right. Those who can't do teach. Those who can't do talk. No. Those who can't do anymore and used to be able to do talk. You know what I mean? Bellator, PFL, they got Randy Couture talking, one of the greatest of all time. We got Paul Felder. Get him out. Paul Felder out. Right?
Alan Joban out.
And Paul Felder, I take umbrage with specifically because he said when he retired, guys, I got a daughter. I can't keep leaving her to come do this. I can't keep. And that was the point, right? Leaving her to go and do this. Well, you leave her more times a year to be a commentator. When you're a fighter, hold on, somebody's knocking on my door. Just vamp for a second. Vamp.
Yeah. Well, Luke said a lot there. I'll go through the rest of the fights, I guess. CJ Vergara, pretty boring fight. Salvador kind of lost it for himself. Trevin Giles, I thought he'd be able to hang in there just a little longer. Gabriel Bonfide made absolute quick work of him. It was great. Bobby Green, what's up?
No, go ahead.
Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. I just was saying, you know, we really need to stop creating. How about this? Let's just create a retirement fund, a 401k, something that we can just start them out with at the first fight. So that way we don't need to start creating jobs programs for aging guys in the UFC. You know what I mean? For cowards, for guys who are aging into cowardice in the UFC. We need to stop having the cowards clause that they get to go sit at the desk. You know what I mean?
Throw Forrest Griffin in there. Get Paul Felder out. Throw Forrest Griffin in easy. He was a champion.
He doesn't need. The thing is, no one knows who Forrest Griffin is anymore. No offense to Forrest, but there's a reason he's sitting back doing what he's doing. He's probably happy. He's not. If he wants to do it, go ahead, Forrest. I'm just saying. How about Chael Sonnen? How about we have the most famous and best one do the job? Like, how about the guy who
I'd agree.
who we all choose to watch when we're not watching UFC. We go to his YouTube channel. We watch his YouTube channel. Everybody does. It's the biggest one. It's the biggest one with the most subscribers.
And I'll tell you what, this week was the first time I've watched the UFC post-fight show ever. I found out since Chael Sonnen's been off. I haven't watched a single one in between. Can't deal with it. Chael's back. I'm on there. I'm watching the post-fight show.
And I will say this, if they pay Wonderboy a dime, the best news I got all week was that Wonderboy was not paid for making weight and showing up. And the best news I heard all week was that he was not paid. And if they pay him $1, that's what got us, giving him money is what got us into this mess in the first place. That's what got us into this mess in the first place. Wonderboy having his house paid off and the gym paid off and the bus paid off and all his action figures paid off. That's what got us into this mess in the first place, Dana. We need to give Wonderboy so much less money. We need to increase his expenses. We need to do something. I need to win. He can't never fight again. So we got to get him in there. How are we going to do it? He needs money. He needs to need money is what I'm saying. He needs to need, because these Jose Cuervo commercials, he doesn't need to fight now. He can just sit back and wait for the perfect matchup. I need to get my pound of flesh back. The witching hour is upon us. This is the age of Aquarius, and I am spellcasting straight up in Wonderboy's direction. I'm spellcasting, putting all my energy into it. So it will happen eventually. Father Time is undefeated, so I don't care if I have to bet against Wonderboy when he's boxing Jake Paul. All right. But speaking of Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, we got to get into Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul. But let's wrap up last week's card real quick with a fine-tooth comb. We got
Alex Pierre versus Jan Blachowicz.
I really don't think that we talked enough about the Wonderboy situation, though. But we'll bring it up to Bittman and get his take next week. But Wonderboy said on the Errol Hawani show, I believe, he said, I saw like a headline or something, and he was like, I think the UFC will do right by me. Haven't seen anything yet, but I think they'll do right by me. UFC, listen to me. This is a direct message to Dana White, Hunter Campbell, and the UFC. If you pay Wonderboy, I will boycott the next pay-per-view card, and I will encourage my audience to do the same. If you pay Wonderboy, I will encourage. That is what 100. We got 1,000 subscribers. $80 times 1,000 is $80,000. I don't know what Wonderboy makes, but you're going to lose $80,000 if I have anything to say about it. If you pay him one dime for not fighting Michelle Pereira, that is a scam. That is akin to a slip and fall scheme at the Walmart, and he is just trying to extort you. And he has if he has enough money to sit on his ass, he has enough money to sit on his ass. That's all I'm saying. I'm done. I'm done, Alex. And you know what? Big changes are coming to this channel, so get on board. Lock on while you can, because once the gravy train starts rolling, we're not stopping or turning around for anybody anymore. Okay, we've done enough of that.
What's coming?
All right, so let me just say this. So
what's coming?
No spoilers. So wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know? you don't even know. That's the funny thing. I haven't even told you yet, but big changes are coming. So we kind of buried the lead here, but in addition to me going 9 out of 11 last Saturday night, Alex going 7 out of 11, and Dan going 10 out of 11, only getting the first fight of the night incorrect and going 100% after that. We went 100% Trophy certified, everybody. So clap it up there. We went 100% Trophy certified. CJ Vergara, Jake Matthews, Gabriel Bonfim, Kevin Holland, and Justin Gaethje. 5 Trophy certified picks, 100% correct. Trophy certified picks are 68% accurate, 45 out of 66 in year 4. We finished year 3 70% accurate. So 68 in year 4 after 66 picks given, and 70% at the end of year 4 after hundreds of picks given. We are really consistent with the way that we deliver our results. 70%, no matter how you slice it, is fantastic. I mean, if you can sniff a triple P certified pick under minus 200, that I think minus 200 is like 68% implied odds. You're looking at a pretty desirable pick. And I even asked ChatGPT this. It said that would be a good pick. So I really did. I'm 63.9% accurate in year 4, 85 correct picks given out of 133 total given. Dan is trailing me in second place, 81 correct given out of 133. So if you're trailing my open bet sheet, you know the story of the night, but I was going. I dropped a lot of bets with Semmelsberger losing. I dropped a lot of bets with, who else? I mean, the parlays got disrupted in one way or another. And I'm sitting there going, all right, I'm down a certain amount of money. Let's see. How do we win it back? I was very confident in Alex Pereira and Justin Gaethje, the co-main in the main event. So I kind of knew those were my parachute backup plans. If all was going awry, I can break even on Pereira and I can make profit on Gaethje. And that's exactly what happened. So right before the Pereira fight, I did a very irresponsible thing. I dropped a bomb on Pereira. I can't say it too loud. I dropped $500 through 500 on Pereira, and to win about 490. Right?
I like how you whispered it to just then say it louder.
Yeah. So shit. But here's what I did. So I dropped the bomb and I'm watching them weigh in. And I was texting you. I was like, dude, I'm kind of tired, like going into the Lewis fight. And then he woke me up a little bit, but then I started getting sleepy again. So I'm sitting there, I'm sleepy. Pereira is about to check in. He's getting his hands looked at and everything, getting his Vaseline put on. Next thing I know, I blink, I open my eyes, and Pereira's on his back in round 3 with like 30 seconds left in the fight. And I'm like, what happened? Who won? I'm like so confused. I'm like, who won the first 2 rounds? Who won this round? This doesn't look good for my bet. But I just sat there and I'm listening for context clues, and DC is like, I think that Pereira won the fight. And I'm like, all right, that's good news. So when DC said that I felt a little better, Pereira gets a split decision. I'm like, oh, and then Pereira gets a hitter. So what happened in your opinion?
I think that Pereira absolutely got manhandled in the first round. Jan was on his back for a lot of it, almost choked him out a couple times. Pierre never said die. As soon as the first round was done, Jan looked pretty winded. And at the end of that round, Pierre had him on the ropes. And if he had like 30 more seconds, he probably would have finished him. Then the third round, Jan's still dead tired. I thought Pierre was winning the exchanges in the third round. He did get rocked in the second round, Pierre. He got cracked, but definitely won the round. And then the third round, he was winning, I thought, but everybody in the Discord said it was a little close. And I was like, nah, you guys are good. I think Pierre won the decision. And then they said split decision. I was a little surprised, but Jan did end the fight on top for like only 30, 40 seconds.
Okay. So, that was my experience there. I just I sent some of the profits from Pereira winning home. And then I put some of the winnings on Gaethje by knockout and then Gaethje by knockout round 1 and round 4. For a second, while I was doing round 1 and round 4, I had it on round 2 and I even placed the bet. And then I was like, no, it'll probably be round 1 if it's anything, or it'll be round 4. So I just took it off, but that would have been another 500 right there. $50 spent 500. Anyway, that was the story of my night. Like I said, fantastic result. I got one of my nemesis off the board, Dustin Poirier. We got Robert Whittaker off the board, and now we don't have, we're cleaning out our closet. We're cleaning out our closet, and things are going well.
Don't really have too many more enemies in sight. Bilal Muhammad, still his day is coming.
Here in my respect a little bit more.
How?
Fighting Burns, beating him.
Gosh.
And at the end, like the next one's.
Did you see his comments on Philadelphia? He doubled down.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
He took him back on the Philly cheesesteak, and then he said, "But you guys still suck." And you're
Bilal, I don't care about him losing in the ring. I want Bilal to lose psychologically. Like I want Colby Covington to get the next fight, to win the next fight, to not give him the fight. You know what I mean? I want him to like have to do more fights before he gets a title shot. I don't want him to like even get a title shot.
Tony Ferguson route.
Exactly. I want him to lose before he even gets the title shot. I want Colby to get the belt and just torture him. Just absolutely torture him.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I want him to get the Colby fight, and then you can't really wish this on guys, but like, I was gonna say he gets the Colby fight, but then he himself has to pull out. So then Colby gets to be like, "You pulled out. I gave you your chance. You didn't show up, so you don't get a chance." And then he's like, "No."
That's a win in wrestling. That's a win. I won by forfeit.
Torture, nonstop torture. But Bilal's, I wouldn't put him in the same category as Whittaker, Wonderboy, and Poirier. Those are the big 3, right? Who else? Who do we hate more than those? Who do I hate more than those 3? There's really no.
Ian Gary.
Oh, Ian Gary. Yeah, Ian Gary. But he's a gnat.
He's not at the top of the game. He's not at the top of the game. We care about fighters who are ranked top 5, top 10.
Yeah. Not guys who duck and dip and dive and dodge and avoid actually like good matchups. Ian Gary, if they offered him Hamza Chimaev, he'd shit in his jock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. He would never take that fight.
Or if they offered him Shavkat Rakhmonov, or if they
Never take that
but
fight.
he's not going to get past Jeff Neal. You saw how Jeff Neal fought Shavkat. He fucking did well at moments in that fight. So I think Jeff Neal rips his head off.
I don't know. I hope so. I definitely hope so. But you've said that about Ian Gary's last like 4 opponents, and I don't know if I can drink the Kool-Aid with you
Buck
any longer.
stops here. Safe Saud and a pissed off Jeff Neal.
He's got steam coming out of his ears.
He's mad. And if I see Jeff Neal, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna say something to make him mad about Ian Gary. You know what I mean?
Like what?
I saw that. I don't know. I gotta think. Let me ask me again at the Patreon episode.
All right, awesome.
All right, well, we've had a couple fights drop off the Corey Sandhagen Rob Font card. If you want our updated picks, go get them at the Patreon. Before we talk about Luque versus Dos Anjos, full card, main and prelims, top to bottom, let's just talk Diaz Paul, Alex. I mean, if Dan were on the show, he'd probably say that Jake Paul is going to win. I already can feel that. But it's me and you here, Nick Diaz Army, Nate Diaz Army. I think that it's a travesty to have Nate as a 3-1 dog against Jake Paul when it was even money against Tommy Fury. I mean, Tommy Fury is nobody. He's not a great boxer. He hasn't fought any good opponents. And even his fight with Jake Paul was like coin flip. Who won? Who knows? You know what I mean? It could have gone either way. Then you look at the Woodley fight. His first fight with Woodley was a split decision. His second fight with fucking Woodley, yeah, he knocked him out. But like Woodley took that fight on short notice. I just don't really get it, man. I haven't seen Jake Paul put up against a guy who has the attributes that Nate does. The height, the length. Even now at this point, the size. People forget Nate has been slowly but surely gaining muscle mass towards like the later half of his career. He's not the string bean he started out as. He's a full-grown man now. And he's
and dude, I saw him in an interview with Mark Raimondi, and those legs were busting out of the jeans. The legs were busting out of the jeans, Luke. His thighs are looking big.
And the one thing you know about the Diaz brothers is that they are very proud of their boxing and their jiu-jitsu. So when it comes down to, his coach, Perez, you know what I mean? He's been hitting that big guy in his big old barrel belly for 20 years. He's been doing traditional boxing for a very long time.
Hanging out with Andre Ward.
He's a boxer. He's been doing it longer than Jake Paul. People are crazy. Now, here's what I worry about. What I worry about is the same thing I worry about in every Nick and Nate Diaz fight. What I worry about is Nate or Nick Diaz losing a fight that they themselves think they won. And personally don't give a shit that they lost because they won in their mind. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can see a world where Nate Diaz is like almost walking forward endlessly and allowing Jake to touch him with punches that in his mind are like, oh man, these punches ain't shit. But like the judges are like, he's landing punches. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then Diaz is like getting scar tissue busted open and he's bleeding and he's like coming forward and in his mind fighting a real fight. I'm fighting a real fight. You know what I mean? But Jake, in his mind, man, all he did was run away whole time. You know what I mean? Like I can hear it. I can hear it being said afterwards.
Yes. That's my biggest fear.
Rob. The problem is Nate needs to see a sports psychologist because he's from Stockton and he was an underprivileged youth. He will always have a chip on his shoulder and in the back of his mind a governor switch which prevents him from accessing true self-confidence and personal pride, which will excel him into this is deep shit.
This is very deep.
Being a winner, right? I mean, it's something he needs to take ayahuasca. But by the time here's the problem. What it would take to solve Nate Diaz's inner turmoil would also dissolve what makes him able to do this fight. Very similar to Mike Tyson.
Yes.
Mike Tyson now messing around on the ranch, taking the shrooms, taking the ayahuasca, licking the toad. He's many things now, but what he is not, and what he is not. He wasn't when he was back then a destroyer, a devastator, the Conan the Barbarian type. He wasn't crying all the time. Mike is crying all the time now. I saw a video the other day of Mike talking about Inoue, the monster, Natsuya Inoue, and he almost was about to cry talking about how good this kid was as a boxer. And
he loves the game. He loves the game, Luke.
I do too, but I'm just saying Mike's tearing up all the time now because he's in touch with his emotions and he's healed and he's grown. healing and growth. He's not.
No, he's not healed or grown. He looks at that guy and he was like, I used to be that guy. I used to be the destroyer. I used to be the monster. I used to get scared looking at myself in the mirror.
And I think that's what it really comes down to, is that life is complex and life is a contradiction and it is a paradox. We are living, if you look at the, I think it's there's a word in, I think, Hindu scripture, or maybe it's, there's words in all these scriptures, but I think it's like, there's one that translates directly. I think it's actually in the Chinese, the Taoist tradition. It translates to illusion. So like what they use as the word that describes reality or the world also translates to illusion. And it's like, we are living in a paradoxical time where, yes, Mike Tyson, there's probably a part of him that does recognize he wants to be the monster, but there's a part of him that recognizes he shouldn't want to be the monster. And that duality is never ending. Even if you do lick the toad to heal the inner trauma, you will be presented with the new questions. Just as soon as you think you have the answer, God changes the question. So, we have a governor's pitch on our brain in general. We are not meant to really uncover.
Let's get back to Diaz and Paul.
Well, this is part of it. It's like, will Nate Diaz, I think he's got a kid now. I think he's completed the mission. He doesn't have a chip on his shoulder anymore because he, like Francis, left the UFC and is now lighter. He feels, remember when Francis, say what you want about Francis, but when he came off of the UFC contract and went on to that show and he said, I'm feeling good, you could just sense a lightness about him. He felt like, I can do what I want now. I'm not obliged.
Stress-free.
And Diaz, I think, he kept saying, using his term, I completed the mission. He just wanted to complete the mission. And that closure, I think, could be the thing that allows for a more mature Nate Diaz to emerge. He understands what's at stake here, and he understands that the mission now is, hey, this guy, and he said this, guys, Nate Diaz said this, he said, this guy, Jake Paul, was talking the loudest, and none of y'all were saying anything. So I had to fucking say something. So now y'all are going to make me go over here and do this because all of y'all from my team, even though I don't even want to be considered I'm on a team with you guys, but I am on a team with you guys, nobody else would do anything. So me, the 39-year-old, I got to go do something. You know what I mean? And he's going to go do something. So it is what it is. Respect to Nate, respect to James Toney, respect to the real ones. No respect for Wonderboy, no respect to the cowards. Cut the cowards. And I'm over it. Let's move on. Let's move on to a more exciting matchup than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Well, no, sorry. So what's the move here? Nate Diaz. I think that
only ways for him to lose are decision and doctor stoppage.
Oh, there we go. He's not getting knocked out.
He's not getting
knocked out. We're on the same page there. He's not getting knocked out.
He's not getting knocked out by Jake Paul. He's not going to get turned into a meme. Okay.
So let's see.
There will be no memeing on Nate Diaz's behalf.
3-1. What are we? Let's put our money where our mouth is. My only question is, do I put 1,000 on Nate or do I put 500 on Nate? Do I try to win $1,500, which is a pretty respectable? That's a big night. $1,500 is a big night. I'd like to win.
What are the odds on Jake by
card
decision? What are the odds by Jake by decision? Because you could just take both of those and know that even if because boxing is corrupt, Luke. You got to remember, we might think Nate Diaz won, but we're not always right. And when we're seeing these fights with MMA guys versus boxing guys, the boxing judges seem to favor the boxing guy just because he's a boxing guy. Oh, he's been in here. He's been doing it.
Jake's not a boxing guy, Alex.
But he is to them.
The boxing community has not accepted him.
Oh,
they would sooner accept Nate Diaz, dude. They respect Nate Diaz because he respects them.
So Luke, you can get Jake Paul by decision or technical decision plus 350. So you can get Nate Diaz by plus 280. So I think you bet responsibly on both of those.
Well, Nate by decision is the same exact odds as Nate moneyline.
No, Nate by decision is plus 750.
Oh, plus 750.
Yes.
Dude, I think he could finish Shake.
Nate Diaz in general is just plus 280. I think he's going to put an overwhelming pace over the course of 10 rounds. And probably, I think he's going to finish him on the feet, and Jake Paul is going to still be on his feet, but just not answering punches with Nate Diaz teeing off on him when he's in the corner You know what I mean? That's how I see it. Like BJ Penn versus Nick Diaz. Like I just see him teeing off on the body, going up top, going to the body.
I'm sold. Diaz is going to stop him. I'm sold on Diaz stopping him.
Yeah,
I would take Jake Paul by decision or Diaz money line, and then I would
Diaz
take
KO is plus 50.
Here's what you do: 33% of your investments on Diaz money line. 33% of your investment is on Diaz by KO or by decision, if that's what you think. But I'm saying 33% on money line, 33% on Diaz in some capacity, and then your hedge play is Paul by decision.
I think if it goes to a decision, the judges just give it to Jake. That's just what I think.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
How many fights have we seen Nate Diaz?
I'm going to say, guys,
won the battle.
This isn't that complicated. Don't think about conspiracies. Don't think about fixed fights. Don't think about any of this nonsense. Think about three things only. Nate Diaz beat Conor McGregor on the feet in their first fight, and Nate Diaz matched or possibly surpassed. If you look at that fifth round, he was certainly winning by the end of that fifth round. Nate Diaz beat Conor McGregor for 7 rounds on the feet, a man who went 30 minutes with Floyd Mayweather. Nate Diaz punched the current champ in the face and almost finished him in the 5th round, the 25th minute, which is about how long he's going to be fighting Jake Paul for, and fucking almost finished him. The current,
I think it's 30 minutes, 10 3-minute rounds.
Yeah, the current. So yeah, the current UFC welterweight 170-pound champion, not 155, 170. What's his weight fight? 175, 185, something like that.
185, yeah.
25. So it's like we're not talking. When Edwards was in there, he was weighing 185. He was probably as big as Jake Paul when he was in there. Fact.
Mm-hmm.
Edwards is a horse.
Oh yeah,
and he's way more dangerous than Jake Paul.
Oh yeah,
that was Nate's last fight in the or last. Then you look at Ferguson, who people can say whatever the fuck they want. Ferguson is still able to put the gloves on and go in there with Chandler. Won the first round against him. Sure, he got fluke kicked in the fucking face by Chandler, a kick that even Chandler didn't think was going to land when he threw it. But he went fucking all the rounds with Oliveira, all the rounds with Dariush, and was like looking good in the Bobby Green fight. And
he won the first round.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, Nate Diaz has attributes, was willing to walk in there against Khamzat Chimaev. Nate's got attributes. Nate is a boxer, and I think that this is crazy to have the line like this, and I'm going to be betting on Nate Diaz.
Did you see Nate when people were like, he's got CT, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I've been talking like this the whole fucking time.
Yeah. Always talk like this.
Oh man, he is a treasure. I hope he KOs Jake Paul. I think it's gonna be like 7th round. Dude, Bud Crawford, did you see that?
No, but I definitely like Bud.
He finished Earl Spence. After all that jibber jabber, everybody. I have friends who pay close attention to boxing, right? And I'm like, I love Bud Crawford myself. They were like, well, he's a little washed, man. He's old. Like, I think Earl Spence is going to get the jump on him. And I was just like, oh, well, these guys are saying that. Maybe that's what's going to happen. And Bud stops him in like the 7th round, Luke.
Yeah. I wish I kind of was more key.
And then while the guy was knocked down, he looks at his next opponent in the crowd and he's like, you're next. While the guy's knocked down, I think he got back up and then he put it on him again, finished him, and then that guy's next.
That's awesome. I love Bud Crawford. Yeah, he's the man. I think he has some kind of parallel with the MMA community as well. I don't know who he was training with, but I think he trains with an MMA fighter or something. I'm not sure, but we could look into that. Comment down below if you know what we're talking about. And also comment who you think is going to win, Paul versus Diaz. I mean, am I crazy? I mean, I think that this is a little bit crazy. I'm going to be tuning in. I would tune into the Nate Diaz Jake Paul pay-per-view. I would tune into it over this UFC offering. And it's interesting. They always put Sandhagen up against Jake Paul. I think the last time Jake Paul fought, Corey Sandhagen fought Yadong Song, right?
Potentially.
But
no,
that was Yadong Song, Corey Sandhagen. That was the same night as the boxing match, Canelo versus Triple G.
Oh, okay.
I believe, yeah.
Wait, are you sure it wasn't Jeremy Stevens or not Jeremy Stevens? Luke Rockhold versus Mike Perry? I remember something went up against that recently, and that
it was September. It was the third time they fought. It was September 17th, 2022, and Yadong Song versus Sandhagen was September 17th, 2022. Yep. So that's what it was. All right, let's move on.
Another exciting thing
I
on
watched both, and I was just thinking, like, what would I choose? Would I choose Sandhagen versus Font or Diaz versus
Diaz
Paul?
all day. Diaz.
Paul all day. I do think Corey's. I mean, this is a respectful offering, but it's the Nate Diaz is the one pulling the weight. It's not that I want to.
I'm gonna be in Puerto Rico.
Paul versus anybody else, I'd pick Sandhagen versus Font. Put it that way.
I'm gonna be in Puerto Rico. I'm gonna be on Jake's stomping grounds. I don't know.
And Rob Vaughn's stopping grounds.
And Rob Vaughn's stopping grounds. So maybe that's breeze in the wind telling me to
Dorado or San Juan.
I don't know. I don't want to disclose my exact location.
All right. Well, shout out to Puerto Rico. Show my man Alex a good time down there. Look after him. If you're Puerto Rican, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments if you're Puerto Rican.
On that card, a very exciting prospect. I saw him on one of Jake Paul's other cards. I think it was Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul. Ashton H2O Sylvie. I'm excited to watch his fight as well on that card. I think he's like 3 fights before Jake Paul versus Diaz.
Okay, Chris Avila is also fighting Jeremy Stevens on that card. That's gonna be
good. Exciting.
And Heather Hardy versus Amanda Serrano. This is gonna be entertaining. You know, you got a 1-3 guy opening the card against CJ Hamilton. Would love to know what the 0-0 guy is getting paid to fight the 1-3 guy. Would love to know what the 0-1 guy is getting paid to fight the 2-1 guy. Shout out to Jake Paul for making sure everybody always gets fighter pay, and I hope that those guys are making.
CJ Hamilton is 16-9 as an MMA fighter.
Okay,
was Bellator guy.
Gotcha. So this is a bit of an MMA versus boxing kind of thing.
I would think so.
Or it's like MMA fighters versus YouTubers. It's a whole thing. But Jeremy Stevens versus Homeboy is interesting because why is it saying Jeremy Stevens is 0-0? Didn't he box Jose Aldo?
Yeah, he did. Maybe that was an exhibition.
It's a majority draw.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It still says he's 0-0.
It might have been an exhibition.
Is it? Maybe they're. I don't know. Yeah, this is weird. Maybe it was an exhibition. I don't know. But Avila is 30 and Stevens is 37. I think Avila fucks him up, dude. This is interesting.
Oh yeah.
I would love to see the odds on that, man, because that could be good. Because if everybody's gonna go in on Stevens,
you think?
I think everybody's gonna pick Stevens here. I think they're gonna think, well, what if they fought in MMA? Stevens would kill him. But I think Chris Avila is like younger with the shits in boxing. You know what I mean? To use a little bit of a Zoomer term there, he's really with the shits. You know?
Oh, they don't even have it up yet. Interesting.
Right.
It's the only fight on the card that they don't have on there. Is this also an exhibition?
Let's go to best fight odds real quick. We got why? Hold on. Paul versus Diaz odds. Anyway, we can get to this. Let's just go through Luque versus Dos Anjos, full card, everybody. Yeah, I'm not finding it either. We'll go through the full card, top to bottom, for Luque versus Dos Anjos. Then we'll take you through Sandhagen versus Font in the Patreon once again, and we'll bid everybody adieu. So I need 5 picks. I need 5 picks at even money. So whether it's an over-under, whether it's an even money, whether it's an underdog, I need 5 picks at even money. I'm taking 500 to 20,000 this weekend. I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. So first fight of the night. Alex, anything you want to say about anything before we get into this card? We got UFC Nashville, Font versus Sandhagen. I love you. I love doing this podcast. I want to take it to the next level. I love Dan. I'm happy he's on his honeymoon right now. He's going to be eating pasta. I just hope that he doesn't bump into anybody from the Vittori family, from the Vittori crime family, because they are going to fucking be putting him at the bottom of the canal in concrete shoes when they hear that he called Marvin a fake Italian. But other than that, Dan, he's going to broadcast live next Monday. He's flying to Italy now. So he's going to be in Italy next week. He's going to try to broadcast live from Italy. Alex is going to broadcast live from Puerto Rico. And I'm going to be stuck in I'm going to be in the greatest place on earth, the Mid-Atlantic region of the United States of America. So, without further ado, let's break down UFC. Where is this one?
I love how you always do that. You'll be like, Alex, what do you have to say about this? And then just go on a tangent for 2 minutes.
Well, you can go ahead and chime in. I mean, it's UFC Apex. We're going back to Nashville. We're going to Nashville, but then we're going back to the Apex August 12th. I personally, when the fight takes place, I'm going to be in Seattle, Washington region. I'm going to be in the Pacific Northwest, Chael Sonnen's stomping grounds, the Pacific Northwest. So I will be there, August 12th. But we're gonna, I don't know if they have legal gambling there. I'll place my bets before I leave, I reckon. But like I said, I need 5 good picks, and I don't know. I got to figure them out. So let's take everybody through the whole card, Alex.
All right, and let's start with Josh Parisian versus Martin Buday.
And now this is not Bradley Martin of the Nelk Boys. This is Martin Bradley or Martin Buday. Yeah. So do you see these Bradley Martin interviews? These are so funny where he's like,
you think you can take me?
Yeah. He's like, dude, I love it. These kids are like, these Nelk Boys are hilarious, dude. If you really like, if you watch them, you're just like, I mean, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with just like the way they suss guys out through these podcasts and try to be like, they're very passive aggressive. They're very Pacific Northwest, if you think about it, like they try and you almost are like, you see the Andrew Schultz thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this on the Patreon. We'll save this for the Patreon. Okay. Save it for the Patreon, everybody. If you want to hear us talk about gossip, TMZ style stuff, you got to tune into the Patreon. And that's where we talk, we politics, we talk about the Canadian wildfires, the Canadian truckers. We're talking about all the issues.
Everything that goes on
everything
in the Great
from
White North.
Pharmaceuticals to Canadian wildfires to whether or not the Nelk Boys are cool or uncool. We're talking about that. But this is not where we do the gossip hour. We break down fights here. So Martin Buday taking on a 1 Josh Parisian. This is an open and shut case for me. I just don't know if the odds are going to make this one bettable whatsoever. But I'm going with the Slav, baby. I'm going with Martin Buday. Keep it short, sweet, to the point. All the measurables are there. And he's not coming off a loss to Jamal Puagas, who is coming off a pretty bad loss himself. He's not coming off a loss to Dontel Mays. He's not coming off a loss to Parker Porter. This guy is relatively unblemished, 12-1. Yeah, very unimpressive. Decisions, split decisions, kind of sucks, but he doesn't suck bad enough to lose to Josh Parisian. Going with Martin Buday.
Going with Martin Buday myself. Call it double P certified until Danny Boy gets back on the saddle.
And to get Danny's picks, I guess, for this card, you're going to have to join the Patreon, because next week, how this works, next Monday, we'll be back here. We'll be breaking down the card that's, another week out. And then we're going to do the Patreon breakdown for the card we're breaking down now. So basically, we're constantly doing this little like overlap kind of thing where we give you every single pick top to bottom for free early. But then as we have time to think about it, we come back, we do the final run through on the Patreon. And the double tape study has been working. I mean, I'm putting up some of my best numbers over the last 4 or 5 fights. And I credit that to the double tape study, to the double breakdown, to breaking every card down 1 week. And then again, the following week, we do it twice for you. No podcast is giving you the picks earlier. No podcast is giving you the picks twice. Think about that. Maybe you should do more for us. Subscribe to the Patreon, refer a friend, go grab your mom, your girlfriend, your sister's phone, and subscribe on their phone. They'll see it come up on their YouTube. They'll be like, who the hell are these guys? But maybe one day they'll tune in, and then you'll have something to talk about with them. They'll say, hey, do you watch The Perfect Play Pursuit? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, I do. And then now you and your sister, you're bonding for the first time in years over a podcast. It's beautiful.
And she's like, I love Alex and I hate Luke. And you're like, I love Luke and I hate Alex. And
what you got to understand about Luke is he's actually playing a character. And though he says that, he doesn't actually think that, because this whole thing is just a house of cards for entertainment purposes only. See, and then she'll start like, oh, okay, I didn't think about it that way. And it'll be like,
well, did you ever read the disclaimer that they put on in the episode?
Sometimes I'm a Cartman, sometimes I'm a Kenny, sometimes Alex is a Kyle, sometimes he's a Stan. But there's one thing always, that Stan is a Butters. All right, let's move on.
Professor Chaos.
We'll see if Dan got an hour into the episode to catch that. But we're going with Buday, double P certified. Juliana Miller's taking on Luana Santos. Now,
interesting tidbit. Juliana Miller. I don't know what Kevin Holland was alluding to, but he was like, yeah, with the whole Michael Chiesa situation, we traded them, Juliana Miller, and we got Terrence McKinney. I don't know. I don't know what math that was, but he was like, Michael Chiesa is now training with Juliana Miller, and I'm training with Terrence McKinney.
Interesting. That's not good for Juliana Miller.
That's not good.
It's not good. the Veronica Hardy fight, I personally was a little too conspiratorial, thinking they hate Dan Hardy. They fired Dan Hardy. They don't want his wife to get a win. But no, that wasn't the case. Veronica Hardy, they look at her not at all as the same person as Dan Hardy. She smacked up Juliana Miller, head kicked her. The only thing you can say about Juliana Miller is, damn, what a chin, because she got kicked in the fucking head by Veronica Hardy about 45 times in that fight. So that's kind of why I wanted to pick her. But hearing that she's training with the coward Michael Chiesa, I don't know really what to do with this. Bounce a dime off that girl's abs, though, in this Tapology picture. Gotta like the shape she's in there. Luana Santos, Brazilian, 5-1, 23. These are numbers. She's got guillotine wins. It's tough, man. It's a lady fight. I'm going with Juliana Miller.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about Luana Santos that I love.
Yeah.
You know, there's something about her. I don't know.
Feel like Juliana Miller is like a back acceptor, like a guard puller acceptor kind of girl, like at heart.
I'm going with Juliana Miller. She has 10 times the heart of Michael Chiesa, but Michael Chiesa might be getting in her ear like, hey, you can't be taking that many head kicks. Maybe go for a takedown when you're about to get knocked out.
I know, right? I know. I feel the same way. All right. So we'll double P certified Miller for now, but I'd like to see.
Just because Luana Santos, she looks like an Instagram model.
And she's not fought.
She looks like Brazilian Livy Dune.
Yeah, like she hasn't fought in the UFC yet. So it's like
JB buys the cock. Oh,
dude, hey, listen, come on. Cuck culture is making a comeback with Adam 22 now. Okay, he's bringing it back. He's making it okay to be a cuck. Young Savage, JP buys, got his girl stolen by Roman Dolidze allegedly, and it's like, what are you gonna do? If Roman Dolidze wanted to take my girl, he could, and there's not a damn thing I could do about it, to be honest with you. And if Roman Dolidze wanted to take me out, I'd go out with him, to be honest with you, because he's a man. I mean, look at him. He's a Roman Dolidze. I'd love to fix a Harley with him. I'd love to go out to the desert, ride on the back of a horse, hold on to him, go up, have him build me a fire. You know what I mean? I cook, I brew us a tea. I wash him. I whisper in his ear, I wish I knew how to quit you. But so I'm sure that Cheyenne, all I want for Christmas is Velismus. I'm sure she has similar thoughts. Who wouldn't, is the point I'm trying to make. But the Young Savage, JP Buys, has been ran through, to say the least. Knocked out by Bruno Silva, knocked out by Cody Durden. Feels like he just fought, yet that was a year ago that he got knocked out by Cody Durden. Time fucking flies these days.
thought he was cut for sure. I did not think he was still in the UFC.
And now they're giving him Marcus McGhee, who, submitted Journey Newsome. Marcus McGhee looks like a rock monster. Looks like he's made out of stone. Looks like he'd be very tough to reckon with. Coming out of the MMA lab, I'm taking Marcus McGhee. I just think JP Buys has zero attributes. Whatever South African water was fueling Cameron, Simon, and homeboy Driscus Duplessis, JP Buys was upstream. He was upstream from that river because he wasn't getting it.
Luke, can you take the disclaimer off?
Oh shit, my bad. It says here that he's training at Extreme Couture. Isn't that JP Buys is now training at Extreme Couture? That's exactly that Roman Dolidze trains at.
That's how it happened. I think this is old news. I think he left. I think he left.
Well, I think he went there to.
I think him and Cheyenne and Roman Dolidze were all training together. Cheyenne started falling in love with the big hairy man, and then I think JP Buys skipped town, went back to Africa. I don't know if the green card's still good after a divorce of that short of a marriage.
I think not only is it still good, I think Cheyenne still has a lot to worry about. All right, let's move on. Brady Hines.
Hold on. I am also taking the maniac, Marcus McGhee here. Yeah, and Luke, it's funny you brought up DDP because I saw something today that I have never seen. Actually, I probably did see it in the lead up, but during the first Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya fight, Israel Adesanya is calling Robert Whittaker a fake New Zealander. Yeah. He is like, he's a fake Kiwi. I live in New Zealand. I breathe New Zealand air. He basically said the same exact thing as DDP about Robert Whittaker.
Yeah,
And now he's getting all butthurt. I just thought that was hilarious. I needed to
talk about at the
bring that
beginning
up.
of the episode. It's like the things that we hate most about ourselves, we tend to criticize in others, and the things that we are most afraid of folks criticizing about us, we tend to criticize about them. So it is what it is. I mean, you're totally right. Israel's an absolute hypocrite. We talked about at the beginning of the episode. Life is full of these hypocrisies, And next we got Brady Hiestand taking on the Monster Blackshear. And if you know anything about the show, you know that we were riding Damon for a few fights now. We finally got a win from him last time out 3 weeks to the day ago. He came in there and he fucking knocked out Luan Carolina. No, sorry, Luan Lacerda. And Brady Hiestand coming off a good knockout win of his own against Bakarel Dana. I don't think anybody really thought that would have happened. So this fight, I think, is pretty open and shut case. Brady Hiestand from the Pacific Northwest region, just like a one coward Michael Chiesa. I'm going with right? Isn't he? Yeah, he's from Spokane. Yeah, Spokane. I'm going with the Monster is now, he got the confidence back to his winning ways. Farad Bashrat and Yusuf Salal are elite opponents. No shame losing to them. He corrected course with Luan. It's the Monster.
Brady Hiestand's last professional loss was, or not last professional loss, his first professional loss was to Chad Angler, the Monster, Luke. And now he's fighting the Monster. The Monster is going to have his way with him. Damon Blackshear is going to destroy Brady Hiestand. Like we said about these guys, Terrence McKinney, Brady Hiestand. Your ceiling is Michael Chiesa. Your ceiling is the UFC's floor. Your ceiling is the UFC's floor. You barely making it, kid. We're going with the Monster.
Exactly. Next, Francis the Fire Marshal versus Isaac Dulgarian, the Midwest Chopper. Love the nickname, but in this matchup, I'm riding with New Jersey's own Frankie Marshall. Yes, he lost to William Gomez by split decision, but we didn't know how fucking good William Gomez actually was. I mean, he came in there and he was coming out of MMA Factory, 10 wins in a row, 9 at that point. And it was his UFC debut, but he was really good in that fight.
Second
Frankie
fight in his UFC.
dominated. If you remember, though, Frankie dominated the third round, and it's like, Frankie, if you could have fucking done that in the second round and the third round, we win the fight. You know what I mean? So I'm going with Frankie here, but going to be a close fight. I think the Midwest Chopper is pretty much a badass, but Factory X is a great gym, obviously, but it's his debut, right? Never lost, not even in the amateurs, coming in on the debut. Not a lot of great competition that he's fought. Best guy he's ever fought was 7-2. He's fighting a 7-1 guy here, but the 7-1 guy he's fighting in Frankie Marshall has already made his UFC debut. He's 1-1 in the UFC, 1-0 in the Contender Series. He's actually fought good competition. I'm going with the true undefeated guy with only one blemish by split decision, Frankie Marshall.
Going with Frankie Marshall to William Gomez, hottest dude in all of MMA. I'm going with the Fire Marshal.
All right. We got Montserrat Ruiz versus Jacqueline Amorim. Now, I'm going to have to really look at Jacqueline Amorim, and if she's got anything worth seeing, I'm going to have to see it here now because I don't see it with the loss to Sam Hughes, Sam Page. All respect to Sam Page, that's fine, but I like the loss to the champ Amanda Lemos a year and 11 months ago. Plenty of time to rest that chin. And then you got a decision win off Felismus. You got, I'm going to go with Ruiz here. She took the requisite time off after the knockout. She's still not old. She's 30. I don't like a loss to Sam Hughes by decision. It was 3 months ago, yes, but give me Montserrat Ruiz to course correct, go in, and bully this girl.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam Hughes stinks. Going with Montserrat.
Back up. She's got a 6.5-inch reach disadvantage. She's 10th planet. She's Kings MMA versus American Top Team. I kind of generally actually like American Top Team in this situation. Mexico versus Brazil, undefeated girl. I got to go back and watch the Sam Hughes fight. I got to go back and it's tough, man. Somebody who hasn't fought in a year and 11 months but rested after a knockout versus somebody who just lost 3 months ago. I'm actually going to switch. I'm going with Amorim.
All right, I'm sticking with Montserrat.
Okay. I guess the next one we got Lando Vannata versus Mike Breeden.
Yeah, I mean, what do we know about Mike Money Breeden? Not very much. He lost to Natan Levy, unanimous decision, lost to Alexander Hernandez in 2021. And then no real noticeable names on his career. He's 0-2 in the UFC. I think Lando Vannata is a split decision machine. He is fighting a younger guy here, I believe. How old is Mike Brennan?
No. Breeden's 34.
Oh, wow.
He's 31.
Yeah, I'll go with Groovy Lando here, but he has worn a lot more miles. He's fought some good fighters, but he is kind of like that gatekeeper into getting a top 15 fight.
Yeah, Golden Boy Daniel
Top 20
is really good, and he gave him a bit of a fight. Charles Jourdain, that guillotine, and then the Bobby Green, and then this guy Natan Levy, very good. Hernandez, decent. This is a tough one, man. Really, really competitive fight. All things equal, I think I like the more experienced but still slightly younger veteran in Groovy Lando. I think he's got the wrestling, he's got the striking. It's going to be a war. It's going to be close, but give me Lando by split decision.
Wrestling is life. Then we got Jamie Pickett versus Josh Fremd. Another fight I'm surprised is on our UFC roster, let alone not the curtain jerker. Luke, what do you think about this one?
I like Josh Fremd a lot. I generally like to pick him in most matchups. And coming out of Slippery Rock, he's in that Western PA area, that Ohio border town area. I love that area. Good submission, knockout, finisher type guy. Got in there against Cedricus Dumas and finished him. Round 2 guillotine.
And Cedricus Dumas just retired the Cody Brundage.
Yeah, he just fucked up Cody Brundage, who stinks. I see Josh Fremd as a better Cody Brundage, to be honest with you. That's why I had to do a double take. So I was like, wait, did Cedricus not beat Josh Fremd? Nah, he didn't. Yeah, really, Trayson Gore, that was a little bit of a... Yeah, I'm going with Josh Fremd.
I thought Josh Fremd's nickname was the Big Yins.
The Big Yins? That would be a good one, yeah. You might have changed it. They might have been like, no one knows what you're talking about. But I didn't like how, what's his name, took that Bo Nickel loss. He's like, oh, he hit me in the nuts. Like, fuck that. Kyle Dawkins dark choked you. Bo Nickel dark choked you. Dennis Chalulin finished you on the ground. This guy's not going to Joe Selecki's jiu-jitsu class if he's out here putting this kind of Jamie Pickett display on the ground. I know he's at Port City Performance right now, but I know he's also spent some time down there in NorCal. That's North Carolina. I'm going with Fremd. Pickett has holes on the ground, and Fremd is going to put him on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Jamie Pickett, his only UFC wins is Laureano Starpilo. He's not in the UFC anymore. Joseph Uglyman Holmes on very, very, very short notice. I'm going to go with Josh Fremd here. I don't have too much confidence in Jamie Pickett whatsoever. Does he not train with Joe Selecki anymore?
That's what I was saying. I mean, it says Port City Performance Center right now, but
now I don't even feel bad.
But I know he's had some time down there at the Salty Dog. Oh, wait. Am I thinking of Jamie Pickett or am I thinking of...
No, Jamie Pickett was at Jimmo.
Jimmo, that's what I meant. Yeah. Jimmo. Okay, so Khalil Roundtree versus Chris Dawkins. Easiest pick of the card. Khalil Roundtree by finish, by knockout. I saw Chris Dawkins was at some hippie place getting some kind of rock therapy or some shit. That is just hippie bullshit. It's not going to help him here. Khalil Rountree's going to knock his jaw to the other side of his face, knock him out cold. You guys know I ride with the Philly Dogs. I rode Chris Dawkins' first 3 fights in the UFC as an underdog. I picked him every single one. I even picked him against Derek Lewis. That was a mistake. Haven't picked him since. He's got, classic stuff I'm saving for the page trying to talk about, but we will Khalil Roundtree. We broke this fight down already. And we were
the funniest part about that you bringing up that you picked him against Derek Lewis is I just came across the video of me recording you just like, why did I not realize that this was going to happen before it happened? But yeah, Chris Daukaus, although he is looking in shape, and it did give me a little cause to pause. And now he's fighting at 205. That power might be a lot heftier than what Khalil Roundtree's used to if Chris Daukaus is putting down big boys at heavyweight. But Khalil Roundtree used to be a fat boy himself. And if you watch the Ultimate Fighter season with him on it, he talks about that all the time.
There's no way, I don't mean to interrupt you, but there's just quite literally no way in hell that Chris Daukaus can do anything to Khalil Roundtree. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's nowhere that Chris Daukaus beats him. He doesn't beat him on the ground. He doesn't beat him on the feet. You know what I mean?
That's what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to. You know, and then you walked all over. You trampled it. I was leaning one way so I could come back the other. You know, Chris Daukaus is looking good. He looks like he's getting in shape. That power might transfer over to 205. But Khalil Roundtree was a big boy himself. He used to be like 300 pounds. If you watch the season of The Ultimate Fighter that he was on, he told you that. So he has some fat boy power himself, and he's trimmed off all the baby fat. This isn't an experiment for him. He's been at 205 for a while, and I think he's going to put Chris Daukaus away inside the distance. He's got way better Muay Thai, but he might make it a dance class too. There is a chance that he makes it a dance class where he just point fights him the whole time.
There's a chance they both make it a dance class because Chris Daukaus could be, you know, gun shy. Because why wouldn't he be? He's got knocked out 3 times in a row. All right, Tafon and Nchukwi versus AJ Dobson, baby. AJ Dobson. This is a guy who lost to Armand Petrosian in his last fight 9 months ago. Lost to Jacob Malkoun in his fight a year and a half ago. Coming off the Contender Series with a submission victory, he's desperate to get his first UFC win here. Doesn't want to go 0-3. Probably has a 3-fight deal. Doesn't want to go 3-0 and out the door in terms of losses. But he's going to be similar in terms of the measurables to Tafon, the Cameroonian Tafon Dadan, out of a one Lloyd Irving, which is where Sadiq Youssef trains. Shout out to Sadiq Youssef. And, he's only got a win against Slow Mike. He's only got a win against Jamie Pickett. He's got a loss against the Iron Turtle, a loss against Asmat Mirzakhanov, a loss against Carlos Olberg. 3 good fighters. But his wins are against 2 shitty fighters. So what do we make of him? Yes, he did win against William Knight before getting to the UFC, but William Knight put on one of the most boring performances of all time and was kicked out of the UFC as a result. So this is a tough fight to really handicap because you got a guy who's never won in the UFC versus a guy who's only won against shitty opponents in the UFC. I got to think that a guy who's never won in the UFC would classify as a shitty guy in the UFC. He's coming up in weight. Tafon and Nchukwi's a bad guy to come up in weight against. Or I guess Tafon's going down in weight to middleweight. Okay. So I almost like that even more, right? Because Tafon is kind of built like William Knight, wider than he is tall in a lot of ways. So I don't know, man. I think this fight won't happen. I think for some reason it'll end up not happening, but I'll take Tafon.
Damn, he fought William Knight at catchweight at 225 at CFFC. And that's what I'm talking about with Wonderboy Thompson sitting here saying, try that in a small town. You know what they'll try in a small town? Make it a catchweight 20 pounds heavier than you decided to come in at, probably.
No. I said Wonderboy. You're getting confused. In our group chat, I texted Alex, and when Wonderboy, I said try that in a small town, but I think that you thought I was saying Wonderboy.
I thought you were saying that Wonderboy said that about showing up 3 pounds overweight.
Small town, yeah. So anyway,
yeah, but I'm gonna go with Nchukwi myself. He was winning that Asmat Mirzakhanov fight, and then got flying knee knocked out, flash KO very quickly. I remember I was very confident going into the 3rd round, and my mother was like, "Who do you have in this one?" I was like, "The guy that's winning," and then bam, gets knocked out. And that's why you never talk to a pitcher when he's pitching a perfect game.
Whenever I see Brogan Walker's name, I can only think of Amanda Nunes saying, Brogy. Brogy. Because she likes Brogy. They were friends before the Ultimate Fighter season. She coached against Juliana Pena. So she had to take Brody under her Brogy. She had to take her under her wing. I wonder why. Amanda was so interested in Brogy Walker. But the reason I say this is because this girl, Yasmin Lucindo, has a win against Amanda Nunes, his first pick on that show, Brogy Walker. Before that, a loss against Yasmin Uruguay. We just saw getting knocked the fuck out. Other than that, Tabitha Ricci, Baby Shark, took Pollyanna Viana to decision. And before that, she beat up on Emily Whitmire. She beat up on Mallory Martin. And she lost to Veronica Hardy, Dan Hardy's wife. So no real issue here with the losses on the Viana side of things. And in fact, I like that 8 months ago she knocked out old lady Frey, Grandma Fry, with some hooks. And, Yasmin, really, your loss is to be desired. Your win is to be desired. You're 21, 10 years younger. But I think that it's not like she's 31 against a 41. I like that Pollyanna Viana is 10 years older than her. She's going to say, young lady, you got a lot to learn about maturity and being a woman and what it means to be a woman. So I think that Pollyanna Viana gets the win here. I like Pollyanna Viana.
I'm going to go with Lucindo.
Yasmin Lucindo, if you put a Patty the Batty wig on her head and dyed it black, she looks like Tetsuya Tiara. Same lips as Tetsuya Tiara. You know what I mean?
Yes. She is some.
If her and Tetsuya Tiara kissed, dog. Can you imagine? Cub Swanson versus Hakeem Dawodu. Hakeem. I'll never forget when Hakeem went to Abu Dhabi, fought a guy named Zubaira Tukagov, who was sitting there with the sheiks in all white praying, and he still managed to get it.
Watch it.
He still, you could tell I wanted. He still wanted managed to get a decision win against Zubaira. He managed to get a decision win against Zubaira in Abu Dhabi. Amazing stuff there. You would have thought that Zubaira would have got the win there. So this one's an open and shut case. Hakeem is going to fucking kill Cub Swanson. It's going to be the first. It's going to be the first fight that is so bad and such a trouncing that they say, Cub Swanson, we're going to revoke your license. He just lost to. He got knocked out by Jonathan Martinez. He got knocked out by Giga Chikazi. He knocked out Darren Elkins. That was like an enigma fight. I mean, when he came in there and knocked out Darren Elkins after being knocked out himself by Giga and looking like 8 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, I was like, okay. I mean, I really thought the end was here 4 years ago when he beat Kron Gracie. I was like, Kron Gracie's going to kill Cub Swanson. Didn't happen. Then I'm like, all right, well, Cub Swanson beats Daniel Pineda, I think. I don't know who I picked really in that fight. But I really, Giga Chikazi killed Cub Swanson. Jonathan Martinez killed Cub Swanson. That Darren Elkins fight in the middle there, Cub Swanson looked like somebody hit him with the super serum. He was like a mutated bored ape. He was like got hit with the super serum. He was mutated. He was like really looking good in that fight. And then all of a sudden, I think we're going to see him fall off a cliff here. He's almost 40. I think Hakeem's going to push him off the cliff. Hakeem all the way, 6 ways till Sunday. This fight's going to be at 145. The last time Cub Swanson fought, it was at 135. He went down there. He fought Martinez. Cub Swanson's got a case of the he's like a nerd at the dance. He's like, do I want to go to the dance floor? Let's go to the dance floor. So he goes to the dance floor, and there's nobody that wants to dance with him there. So he turns around and goes to the punch bowl. Nobody wants to talk to him at the punch bowl. So he goes back to the dance floor. Nobody wants to dance with him. So he goes back to the punch bowl. Nobody wants to talk to him. It's like he's going back and forth, and every way he goes is the same answer is gonna be there. You're 40. You're 40. You're 40. You're 40. You're 40. You know what I mean? It's not about weight. It's about age. You're 40. He's going to lose every fight he has for the rest of his career. Bet against Cub Swanson every single fight he has for the rest of his career.
Oh, man. Cub Swanson is one of my favorite fighters.
I also don't care. About because I'm mean now. Guys, welcome to the era of me and Luke. I'm going to be mean. I'm just going to start delivering hard truths and blunt information because at the end of the day, I was thinking about this, Alex. I'll let you know a little secret. We're not a monetized channel. And the reason is because I haven't clicked the button that monetizes us. Because if I click the button, then suddenly every time I do something like this,
I've never lost.
Then, they're going to be like, we're giving all your money to us. You used something copyright strike, and then we're just going to have no channel. So rather than monetize the channel, what I'm going to do is we're going to not monetize it. And we'll just all the things that we were formerly afraid of saying because of fear of demonetization, we'll just say those things and not monetize. See what I'm saying? Because if we monetize, then we're just like every other channel that's like, oh, don't say that. Don't. It's 10 minutes. Like that. That whole first 10 minutes thing, not swearing for the first 10 minutes, not talking about this, not talking about that. We can't. YouTube's never going to give us any push anyway, so we might as well just rely on word of mouth marketing. I watched a lot of Gary Vee over the weekend. Gary Vee says, be true to yourself, double down on yourself, bet on yourself, and use word of mouth marketing. So let's fucking go. Because Gary Vee also says you have to use fuck all the time. Fuck this shit.
Excuse my language there, but
I mean, if you were to write a book, definitely put that word in the title, and everybody will decide it's a really good book all of a sudden.
My big fat fucking Greek gambling
addiction.
Yeah. No, I'm actually not addicted to gambling though. But if you are, then you gotta seek help. You gotta. I mean, I don't preach that on the show. I don't really. But it says right here, if you have a problem gambler, contact 1-800-GAMBLER. If you have, what's going on? If you have a gambling problem, you got to seek help. If you have a drinking problem, you got to seek help. You have to take a bath every day. You have to brush your teeth every day. You have to pay your taxes. You have to. This is not financial advice, by the way. Not financial advice. Entertainment purposes only. I'm not even a real person. I don't even exist. But you do have to wipe your butt after you poop unless you have a bidet. Alex, do you get what I'm trying to say?
A Martin bidet?
Do the basics. Practice the basics.
Always practice the basics.
What's funny?
I'm going with Hakeem Dawodu.
Your record, 56%, is as good as I did in the first year of ever doing this. You're putting up my rookie numbers right now because you suck. See that? Accuracy, 56%. That was I just saw that's from year one. You are me 4 years ago. You haven't evolved at all. You suck. I'm
4 years younger than you.
I'm just trying to motivate him a little bit.
I'm 4 years younger than you. So
wow. All right. Fair enough. You're 4 years younger than me, everybody. You hear that, everybody? That's his reason. So you want to win now, bet me. You want to win in 4 years, wait 4 years, bet Alex. Okay? We'll be where we are in 4 years. Don't worry. He'll catch up.
Well, we both took Hakeem Dawodu. So
sucky.
Have fun.
Dan, pipe down, Dan.
Have fun trying to sort that one out.
Can this episode, dude? I don't.
Alex, I'm not gonna lie to you. We've taken every single one of the same picks except for the lady fight. We didn't pick. We did pick. I picked Ruiz. You picked Ruiz. You copied me, and then I switched. And you were too much of a coward to switch with me. So you were like, "Damn it, I have to." You wanted. I know you just want to pick all the same picks as me. So I'm gonna.
I didn't even realize.
We're both on Fremd. We're both on Roundtree, right? We're both on Nchukwi.
Miller, McGhee.
We just pick all the same picks. Like when Dan's not here to like throw a curveball, because I feel like the only reason you ever pick against me is if Dan picks first and you are just like, I'm gonna pick against Dan, and then I pick with Dan, then that's how we end up against each other. But we have picked every single fight except the one lady fight. All
right. Well, I have a feeling we're gonna differentiate on this next one.
And
then we have to talk about the big news that dropped today that I sent you.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Well, you go first to the next one. So
Rafael dos Anjos. No, I want to. No. I want to go second on this one.
But you just said I can guarantee that we're going to differ. So if I say my pick, you can guarantee that because you can just pick the opposite. But
no, I just know for sure you're not picking the guy I picked.
Well, I'll tell you what. I have, old men are in my crosshairs all of the time.
Shut the fuck up. Are you really doing this?
No, old men are in my crosshairs, meaning like I'm always looking at kill my darling. Wonderboy has gray hair in his head. I want him gone, and not without 5 more losses in a row. I want to bet on him. I want to bet against him every time he fights. And we got a 38-year-old welterweight here in RDA. But Luque, coming off a knockout loss a year ago, having not fought in a year, could go either. This is a tough one. This is a really tough fight to call. I'm going with RDA. There's no reason not to.
Gosh, dude. Are you kidding me?
I'm going with RDA because here's why. I always do want to fade the old guy, but if you think about it, no. Dude, do you know that 3 years and 6 months ago, RDA lost to Michael Chiesa by unanimous decision?
Yeah.
Michael Chiesa, the worst fighter in the welterweight division.
Yes.
He got knocked out a year ago by Fizayev.
He was winning that fight. He was winning that fight against Fizayev. If he just made it,
I remember that.
He would have won. You were clenching your butt cheeks that whole fight.
I remember that. He beat Moicano, but Moicano took that fight very short notice. I'm picking Luque, the silent assassin. Luque is going to fucking destroy RDA. He's going to destroy RDA. He's going to get back on track with a win. He ain't going to get his 10th loss. RDA is going to get his 15th fucking loss, and he's going to get knocked out. He's got a 6-inch reach advantage. Moreover, he's got a 3-inch height advantage. He's got, moreover, 7 years of age. Those 3 stats alone put him in a win category of about 100,000%. I'm going with Vicente Luque. He wins this fight 100,000 times out of 5. But RDA is good, but if you lose to Hiestand, you suck.
Luke, the last time RDA lost to a Brazilian was in 2011. There's too much respect for him in the Brazilian community. You're a madman. Vicente Luque is going to respect him too much. He's going to have his back against the cage for all 5 rounds. He is going to get taken down 5 times, and he is going to let him get into the guard, and then RDA is going to put the pressure on him. Pressure. RDA is going to win this fight. He was beating up on Fiziev. And Luke, yes, Michael Chiesa is a bad loss, but this was when Michael Chiesa was about to fight Kevin Lee for, this was when Michael Chiesa was on a tear, I believe, in 2020. Before that, his only losses, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, Tony Ferguson when he was on his tear, Eddie Alvarez when he became champion. That is what gave Eddie Alvarez the belt. RDA is a madman. He's going to go out there and destroy him.
Yeah, I mean, if you just say, he lost to Khabib, he lost to Eddie Alvarez.
Khabib as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's got great losses.
And Luke.
Hats off to you, RDA. You got great losses, my friend. You got great losses.
He's got great wins too, Luke. He's got very great wins too.
Oh, yeah. He beat Donald Cerrone and Tarek Safardine and Kevin Lee,
Moicano, Benson Henderson, Nate Diaz, Anthony Pettis.
On 3 hours' notice, Brian Barberena stinks to high heavens. The last good win that he has is
Neil Magny.
Who? Neil Magny in 2017.
Robbie Lawler.
Fucking 6 years ago. Robbie Lawler retired. The last win.
Hanato Moicano is his best win.
That was 5 hours' notice. Not too Moicano. I was in Brazil eating steaks and drinking beer. Moicano want money. That's what he said in the fight after that. He said, I come in, they call me, I get on a plane, I come here, I fight 5 rounds. I was in Brazil eating steak, drinking beer. That's what he said. So that was a fluke. You're fooled.
All right. Well, RDA is winning. Sorry.
RDA is losing. I'm sorry.
All right, fair enough. And that brings us to
Luque is winning.
The hot news of the day, Luque. Your boy, Dr. Disrespect.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're so wrong in this too. Dr. Disrespect is an elite. All right. You talk about your opinion. I'm gonna pull up a video for you, and you tell me if you fucking think that Sam Hyde can beat Dr. Disrespect in a fight.
Dr. Disrespect is fighting Sam Hyde. Sam Hyde, a guy who's fought. A guy who has fought, boxed, trains, an absolute madman. Dr. Disrespect, a beanpole, skinny guy.
Embarrass yourself. Let me share my screen and show you something real quick.
Okay.
All right.
I've seen him throw a football, Luke.
Throw a football? For you to throw a football 70 yards?
Yes.
I'd give you $1,000.
The mark that we hit, 70 yards, we did it.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
You cannot throw.
So, he can throw a football 70 yards, Alex.
So what? Look at all of his other athletic accomplishments. Look at all the rest.
I will. Golf. All right, how about this? Golf.
Oh, golf isn't a sport, Luke. It's a game.
I'm just saying, I mean.
Golf takes no athleticism.
He hits pretty fucking good, dude.
John Daly would be drunk smoking cigarettes on the golf course every single time.
Yeah, see ya. Good to see you. You know Matt. Yeah, Matt's a good guy. How are you in it? Good?
It's fucking rope, dude. It's fucking rock on a rope, dude. He's gonna be
Okay,
dude, he's going to destroy Sam Hyde. Sam Hyde
he does look strong. He does look strong. I will say that without the
power of a man. He's 6'6", dude.
Without the goofy bulletproof vest and the turtleneck, he does look pretty strong. I think Sam Hyde is on all the Mexican supplements in the world. He looks huge. He looks yoked. Sam Hyde is going to kill him. The Candyman, Luke. The Candyman will cometh one more time, and it's Mubitai.
Dude, let's just take a look. I watched the Sam Hyde boxing fight, and it looked pathetic, dude. It looked Sam Hyde, and I love Sam Hyde, but look, Sam Hyde boxing, right? Who do you box?
No idea.
I am Thompson.
Oh yeah.
I watched this, and he looked really bad. You know what I mean? Like very unathletic, very fat. You know what I mean? Hold on. I am Thompson looked horrible too, but they both looked horrible.
Yes, it was a couple of.
Guys, go to YouTube. You know, Sam Hyde boxing. He's boxing. I am Thompson. They both are very bad. You know what I mean? But listen, Sam Hyde, all respect to him, he looks like a guy who's never boxed before and was in terrible shape, got in great shape and learned a little bit of boxing. This is like white belt level style technique, boxing, all that. But for him, as like a
how many years ago was that, Luke?
I
think he's been constant with the training.
11 months ago is when the video was uploaded. So a year ago.
No,
it was a year ago. I was in this current apartment that I'm in now. I know when I.
No, that was years ago. That was years ago.
Look, he's a big guy. He did really well for himself. He went from being really in bad shape and probably not having any boxing skill to having a pretty decent boxing skill and being in relatively good shape. And that's admirable and commendable. I'm just saying I'm grading on a curve here. You know what I mean? Like if I'm grading on a curve, he did amazing, 100 out of 100.
Oh, it was 2022, August, a year ago.
But if I'm grading on a curve, I'm saying he did amazing, 100 out of 100. But if I'm grading as a boxing judge, I'm like, oh, that's terrible. I mean, that's terrible technique and terrible skill.
But you haven't seen the Doc box. You've seen him throw a football.
I've seen the football. I know Sam Hyde can't throw a football 70 yards. Sam Hyde probably can't catch a football. If you threw it to him from 7 yards, he probably would go like this. You know what I mean? He looks unathletic, is what I'm trying to say. I love Sam Hyde, but he looks unathletic. It's like Elon Musk versus Zuckerberg. You don't want this to be true, but Zuck would fuck up Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk is incredible. When Elon said, well, I'm going to use the technique called the walrus where I just lay on you. That took me back to every single fat ass I've ever known in my whole life who would be like talking shit to somebody who like trains martial arts. And they'd be like, yeah, but that wouldn't work on me. I'm way too big. I would just lay on you. And it's like, okay, yeah, you would just
Bradley Martin. Bradley Martin.
Same, but he's not fat. But I'm talking about like there's something. Yeah. At least Bradley Martin works hard in the gym and has like a pedigree of effort that he's put in that makes him believe he can do that because he's like, well, I work really hard and I can lift a lot of weight. Like there's a reason behind it. What he says. There's some fat ass people who will just have you convinced that being fat is like a skill. And I'm not saying Elon's that guy, but his misunderstanding of like him weighing a lot. It's like Elon. I weigh a lot less than Mark. You know what I mean? And I'm not on whatever Mark's on. And you couldn't lay on top of me. You know what I mean? Like I'm better at jiu-jitsu than Mark, but I'm just saying like by the time like that fight happens and Mark's like a billionaire and he's on whatever he's on to make his veins pop out like they pop out. I'm just saying like you're not gonna lay on top of Mark Zuckerberg. You're not gonna lay on top of me. You're not gonna lay on top of a fucking woman who does jujitsu at my like anybody who does jujitsu is white belt with one stripe. Elon, they're gonna fucking get you off them and they're gonna submit you. You know what I mean?
No, he's hanging out with Lex Friedman. He's learning jujitsu.
And why? Okay, so why did?
Hey! Do not talk shit about a balanced black belt. Do not talk about a Phil Migliore's black belt. Yes,
annoys me to the high heavens. Let me explain. And this isn't why he annoys me. Lex Friedman annoys me because he's annoying by definition of the word. But Lex Friedman posted a picture with Elon Musk of them doing jiu-jitsu together. Okay. Why do you think he only posted a picture and Mark Zuckerberg has a lot of video of him training? Long videos, and many of them of him doing kickboxing and doing striking, doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh, well, the same reason that the video has never surfaced where Mark Zuckerberg got choked out and he said, I was not snoring. I was not snoring. I was just breathing hard.
But either way, that just means he's even more of a competitor. So that's good. You know, that's another chip in his favor. He doesn't want to lose. I like that. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say is, you know, if Elon could do literally anything positive, they would have shown it because they posted the picture. They posted the picture to say, oh, look, guys, Elon's tough too. But that's all they had to post. It's all they had at their availability to post. It's all they were able to post, is what I'm trying to say.
That's what you do when you're at a jiu-jitsu tournament and you go 0-2, but you have a good moment. You take a still photo of the one good moment you had in the whole thing, and you said, I learned lessons.
When you and Lex spent 15 minutes doing that, and then you had pasta, and then you had fucking wine. You know what I mean? Like that you were hanging out with him for 30 minutes, and you spent 5. Him showing you what an armbar is. You know what I mean? And he's doing the version of the armbar that would never work in a trillion years on anybody. You know what I mean? He's doing the version of the armbar that like is the first armbar ever written down. You know what I mean? Like the one you do to a corpse to like break the arm of a corpse to like put it
get rid of the rigor mortis.
Exactly. Like it's not like an armbar that would work on a living human alive. You know what I mean? It's the one they like the person who's never heard of jiu-jitsu gets demonstrated on them and they go, oh, that's pretty nifty. So you're using it like a fulcrum. Like it's not any one that will ever be any, you know, real armbars don't work. A real armbar from guard, like when they're punching you and you catch it and throw it up, like those don't work. And Lex has Elon believing that he's gonna like mount somebody and then like armbar them from mount. Like,
well, didn't we just see an armbar from Miranda Maverick? Yeah, armbar from mount, but that's rudimentary MMA, which is all that he will have to know to beat another guy who only knows rudimentary MMA.
I did want to talk about this. Priscila Cachoeira is a disgrace to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community. I mean, she's from Brazil, and her ability to even do the basics, like why, if I'm watching the UFC and somebody gets mounted and they don't start shrimping like the person on top of them is on fucking fire, I don't want to see you in the UFC anymore. If you're not doing just like a technique that would take somebody 5 minutes to show you, hey, if you're in this position,
and then the fake tap.
Yeah, the fake taps and also just like the gradual let me get myself submitted, like Michael Chiesa shit. You know what I mean? Michael Chiesa is a woman. I mean, I'm gonna mail tampons to his house every day of the fucking week. Let's find out Mike's address and just start sending him tampons in the mail and being like, thought you might need these if the going gets tough this week. I know I got some Ben and Jerry's chocolate ice cream coming your way too. Don't worry, you can do this. If you see something scary, don't just curl up in a ball and fucking roll around on the ground like a worm. Just persevere. You got this, Mike.
And another thing that pissed me off about the Mike Chiesa fight, they're like how devoted he is to fighting, that he moved closer to the CPI, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is in like
the UFC PI. You broke up a second. I just wanted to make sure people heard what you said.
Yeah. So he moved very close to the UFC PI. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the PI and the Apex, same building, no? Yeah. Or yes? Okay, so they're the exact same building. Do you realize that he's there on the desk every other fucking weekend? He's moving closer so he can still do his cushy desk job, not so he can get his vitals in check, not so he can get better nutrition, not so he can work out harder. It's only there so he can do the desk job. That's why he moved there.
I mean, and why is it that anybody, like, if you don't
get a tax break on top of that?
Yeah. All right. Well, we hate Michael Chiesa on the show. He should be cut from the UFC. And
I thought he retired. I think that he took the gloves off thinking he would get an interview.
Yeah.
And then
Anthony Smith, same as all these con artists who understand, you know, the airtime. Like we got more politician UFC fighters these days than ever. I mean, we got politician ass UFC fighters who are like, all right, well, always be close, or what's the improv term? Like, yes, and like always be working, always be always be on. Like, okay, well, here's all right. I didn't win, but let me take my gloves off because maybe I can still squeeze some air time out of this. It's like ew, fucking ew.
And then as soon as he doesn't get the mic, his agent comes out and says, "We're not done. We're only getting started."
Yeah. No, you're done. No, you're done. I'll say when you're done. You're done. You're done.
I won't tell Tony Ferguson when he's done because at least he respected himself out there and got choked out like a man, didn't tap out, and also knocked Bobby Green down twice in the first round. At least he gave a good performance. And if it wasn't for that crab in a bucket referee not taking a point from Bobby Green with that eye poke, that would have been a 10-8 and it would have been a draw, Luke.
I mean, if it was Bilal Muhammad, it would have been a draw. It would have been a no contest. You know what I mean? So basically, guys,
I said in the Discord, I said in the first round, I said Tony Ferguson is treating Bobby Green like his drywall right now. He's punching the fuck out of it. He's looking for the cameras.
It's getting worse, not better. It's getting worse, not better. In terms of the attitude of the fighters and the entitledness and the jobs programs and the welfare programs and the communism. I mean, we really need to snuff this out. Dana, you need to be way quicker to fire and way slower to hire. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Slower to hire, quicker to fire. Okay. All right,
and if it means that we get a UFC card every 3 months that's actually worth a damn, and we don't have to break down fucking Montserrat Ruiz versus Jacqueline Amorni,
exactly.
So be it.
Yeah.
So be it. So be it. I used to like it back in the day because every single card was stacked to the gills.
Every single card meant something. There was meaning behind everything. I mean,
Kendall Grove was the curtain jerker. Kendall Grove was a fucking nasty boy.
Yeah, it just feels like I don't want to, me and Alex are about to hop over to the Patreon. We're going to break down Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font. All right, here are the fights we could do without on the next week's card. Tanner Boser versus Alexa Kimura. Cut them both. Who cares? I'm looking. That's one that stands out. Other than that, Jesse Butler shouldn't be in the UFC.
That's that guy's coach, the guy who died, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know who
Jesse Butler, the singer.
No, that's Jesse something. That's Jesse something else. But like, all right, next week is not. Cut Tanner Boser, cut Alexa Kimura, cut Jesse Butler. This is history. We're first ever before the card saying who should be cut. These guys have lots of proof because they're on the chopping block. All right. That's that, guys. We're going to go to the Patreon. We're going to break down Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font one more time. Last week, we gave you our picks. There's a couple changes. We got to go through them. If you want to support the show, the Patreon's the best way to do it. You get into the Patreon, and that's how you can support the show directly. You can DM us in the Patreon. You get all of our picks neatly listed out for you, sent to you in a DM each week. You get our open bet sheets where we log what bets we've placed before the fights and even live during the fights, updating those sheets. And you get an extra episode every week, uncensored. All the boys breaking down the fights. Thank you so much.
And you get Lukey's TMZ drama, which he said he had to save for the Patreon. I don't know why. I'm eager. I'm very eager.
TMZ drama, everybody. We're gonna give everybody both barrels on the Patreon. We gave you, it was Birdshot on the YouTube. We're loading up with Buckshot on the Patreon. And you heard what we already have said. So I mean, I'm calling for a lot of people's heads, and it's not going to stop. But I love you guys. And listen. The only way this show is going to grow is word of mouth. The only way this show is going to grow is you guys liking, commenting, subscribing, pressing that notification button, sending it to your friends. But moreover, we really only want people to join the show who are going to follow the show, are going to go with the show, and are going to be with us for the long haul. Maybe even meet up with us in real life one day when we do Triple P Fest. Get in the Discord, get in the Patreon. The Discord is free. The Discord has over 200 people in it right now. Having a good time. So get into the Discord, get into the Patreon, and support the show in any way you can, guys. We are, the only ones who are doing it the way we're doing it. So we live and die off you and your support, and we love you. And thank you for joining us as always. Sandhagen versus Font. Let's get it this weekend. And if you want to hear us break it down again, join us in the Patreon. Otherwise, that first episode with Danny B is right there waiting for you. So take care, everybody. Thank God. Thank you, and love your country.